taught myself to play. As a kid, I always enjoyed learning. It was exciting to me, as well as a therapeutic process. I think when people start learning how to play the guitar, they discover, oh wow, there's another place that I can go mentally that allows me to kind of escape and control the world. So for me, those were the things that always drove me to pick up the guitar and just kind of grovel around on it and then create something. It's what I would consider to be something. Not be anything the next day, but I just did it. You would just do things on it. So I would go to the library and borrow any book with the word music on it. I did this many times before with whatever subject I was into. I would exhaust that library and have to go to another library, and pretty soon I ran out of books, and that was kind of the end of that subject for me. So I'd move on to another subject, I guess. But music was another one of those things, and I just would always try to read whatever had the word music on it. I would definitely want to hang out with any kid that was a guitar player and try to absorb or steal, borrow, whatever it was that they were working on, and I always, had my eye on the next thing that I was supposed to be doing. Although, when you're a kid, you don't really know. I didn't have professional musicians around me until I was in high school, and when I played in some musical theater, and I got my first real experience with professional singers and pianists. I basically said yes to any opportunity, whether I was really ready for it or not. It forced me to speed up my learning process. Even if I didn't probably do a good job sometimes, I would just say, yes, I can do that. And then I would have to go home and cram and try to figure out all this stuff, which I had really very little knowledge of. That was my learning process. It was always trial by fire, and I had no idea really what I was doing a lot. But I wanted to figure it out and learn it, so I taught myself theory, and I taught myself technique, by watching instructional videos or guitar magazines or anything, everything. And then I was lucky to be able to hang around with musicians that were 10 or 20 years older than me sometimes that were very skilled. And I was cocky and thought, well, I'm so good, I'm hanging out with these guys. But I look back on it now, I'm like, no, you were learning from those guys. So whatever I learned, I try to make something out of it immediately, create something. That's why I got into music, was to create things and not necessarily just to play other people's music. It was a creative process. Recording and listening to myself has also been a huge part of my learning process. I had a 4-track recorder when I was starting out, and that enabled me to really hear myself. And I think that's, when you have a good teacher, they can reflect back to you how you're actually sounding. But you can also record yourself and then decide if you're getting the desired result. So it's been a great tool for learning. I've got demos and piles of disk drives with video that nobody's ever seen because it was all just part of my work process.